Hi everybody, my name is Hannah and this is Pepper and Pine, and today I want to share with you my thoughts on the Story of the World History Curriculum by Susan Weiss Bauer. Now, we used this program several years ago, so I've actually given away all of my materials to other families except for the audio CDs of all 4 volumes. So I have borrowed these materials in order for me to tell you about them. I do not have the books and I don't have the student pages, but we've used both and so I can tell you about them. So the audio CDs are read by Jim Weiss and they are all 4 volumes. They do range in price from about $25 to $35 for each set. All right, so the one thing that we do still have are all the audio CDs. Now, we did really enjoy these, but primarily my oldest 2 children, who are now 16 and 19, enjoyed these more than my younger 2 kids, who are now 7 and 11 years old. They're just not as interested in this narrator anymore, and so that's why we don't listen to these as much as we did when we first started using this history program many years ago. So I want to tell you about the materials and how we use them, how we like them, and why we're not using them anymore. This program comes with 4 volumes of books that start from ancient times all the way through to modern history. Just for comparison, the book is about this size and the text is about this level, just so you can get an idea, and it comes in 4 different volumes. It's a really easy book to read. It's very enjoyable to listen to, and it covers from ancient times through modern times, but the books are small, so there's going to be a lot of information that isn't covered or isn't covered deeply. And that's one of the reasons why we stopped using the program, is that it didn't work really well for the depth of information that we needed for our history program, which didn't run on the same cycle that you would have for classical education, where you would be repeating this information every 4 years roughly. We were doing these over the course of several years, and so we wanted to dive into these different subject areas a little bit deeper and with a different focus than what the program was giving us. So we moved out of using this and moved into our main lesson blocks with our Waldorf curriculum and into our unit studies, where I just collected different living books and different resources and built a unit study around that particular subject area. All right, so the program also comes with activity books, which are fantastic, and it also comes with test questions, and these are consumable items, so you can tear them out and use them, or you can photocopy them and use them multiple times within your family. There are also student pages, which come with activities that look like this, like maps that you can fill in. There are coloring pages. You're going to find a lot of those materials in the activity book. Now, you can buy these individually and you can also buy them as sets. I want to tell you some of the prices really quickly. Now, I do not have volume 1, but volume 1, all the materials for volume 1 are less expensive than volume 2, which is less expensive than volume 3 and volume 4. So they get more expensive. So the audio CDs are going to range in price from about $25 for volume 1 all the way to $35 for volume 4, and then about $30 or $32 for volume 2 and 3. All right, if you wanted to get an entire set of volume 1, including the book, the activity guide, the student pages, and the test booklet, that would be about $60. And then it goes up. If you're going for volume 2, volume 3, volume 4, it ranges between about $60 to $65. The student pages, which I do not have here to show you, but look similar to these pages, which actually came from the set, but I don't have any of the worksheets that went along with it. It actually came with some incredible book lists, and so I held on to the book list because I definitely wanted to use those in the future. Then I forgot that I still had these, and when I went to put my unit studies together, I found that a lot of these books were ones that I had naturally chosen anyway, and so I have to say that the book lists are incredible. They're really good book selections, and then there's a couple other things on here that are going to work with the curriculum. So the student pages are going to come with maps and projects and things that you can cut apart and paste and color in. So they're consumable pages, and what I liked about them was that they came already loose and with 3-hole punches, and they came just in a really simple plastic package. That way you could just open up the package, stick this into a 3-ring binder, and you'd be all set. So the student pages will range between $12 and $14. The activity book is amazing. Look how massive it is. The activity book also comes with the maps that you're going to find in the student pages, but I like that it's all bound together here so that you can keep this as your reference or your teacher's guide, and then you can have your student pages, which are really affordably priced, so that you can just purchase one for each student, but you can also photocopy them for your family. So the activity books are going to come with more activities, more resources that you can use within this whole entire program. What I like is that at the beginning, it comes with some amazing projects, things that would work independently of this program. I noticed some recipes and some other neat ways to bring history alive. So I really do like these projects. It doesn't come with any of the materials except for the worksheets, but the projects seem pretty simple, that you could collect a few resources, especially for like the recipes, for instance. It's not going to be too difficult to do some of these things, and it's really going to help that part of history really stick in your children's mind. So I really like this a lot. So you could purchase this separately and use it alongside with, say, a unit study approach, but I think that it works really well with the whole curriculum. And if you are purchasing the books, then I would highly recommend purchasing the activity guide. All right, so you can also see how large they are. You really get a lot when you get these activity guides. All right, so the activity guides range in price from $27 to $29. So the prices that I'm telling you are for 2018 based on the Well-Trained Mind website. All right, so the next thing I want to show you are the tests that will go along with each of the volumes. What I like about these tests is that in general, you're not going to find a lot of critical thinking questions, which I really appreciate from Susan Weiss Bauer's materials. I like that the critical thinking questions are generally kept for upper middle school and high school. So the purpose of this program in general is to take in all this information about history and lay down a foundation of understanding so that later on you can work your critical thinking skills based on the information that you've already learned. So the tests are going to be pretty simple. There's going to be some fill in the blank, there's going to be some multiple choice, some true and false, and then there's going to be a longer fill-in question. And what I like about the questions is that most of them have to do with where, when, what, who, and only a couple of them are going to deal with why questions, which tend to be the critical thinking questions. But you can see that they are pretty simple and straightforward for the multiple choice questions for the why questions. So for instance, here it says, why did the Roman Empire divide into 2 parts? And then you have it got too big for one ruler to lead and protect. B is barbarians invaded and divided it. C, the eastern side did not get along with the western side. And D, the 2 parts had different customs and spoke different languages. So you can see that that why question is pretty straightforward versus the why questions that you may find with the longer fill in the answers. Okay, so what's really great about this book too is that the copyright rules are right up at the front. They're super simple and they're really generous for families. You can make as many photocopies as you need for your family. However, this book only runs between $9 and $10. And if you were to take it to a local photocopying shop, it would run you between 5 and 10 cents a copy, which would put this, since there's about 160 pages, anywhere between $8 and $16, plus the hassle of going to get it copied. So I think just purchasing a workbook for each student actually works out pretty well. If you're going to do your home copier, then you can do the math and figure out what's going to be easier, also considering the time and how many pages you need to do. So that's just a thought that this is really affordably priced. All right, so the last thing are the student pages, which I don't have for you, but again, those run between $12 to $14, and then the books themselves run you between $12 and $30. So volume 1 is only $12, up to volume 4 is $30. Now, if you want to get the complete audio CD set, that's going to be about $126. Again, all these prices are quoted from awelltrainedmind.com. Alright, so why did we stop using this? We stopped using this primarily because we decided to go full into our Waldorf curriculum, and the history cycles for that curriculum differed from the history cycles for Story of the World, as well as the focuses were different, the types of lessons were really different. What I liked about this program is that it makes a good general resource so that you could use these books to put together, say, a unit study on a particular subject area, or just to get a bird's eye view of history from ancient times through the modern history. So having these books, which aren't very big, they're a quick read, they're engaging, and it's easy for kids to listen to it, it will give you the information that you need just to get a general idea of all of world history. Of course, because the books are so small, it's not going to cover everything. And there were some areas that I didn't quite like the way the information was presented. So I kind of took issue with some of those sections and decided that we could just find our own resources for our unit studies and our main lesson blocks rather than just using this one source. So when we put together our main lesson blocks and our unit studies, we are pulling from a variety of resources, a variety of books, from historical fiction to histories to cultural books to books on cooking and activity guides and things about mythology or the different religion of the time and geography. So we're pulling all these independent books, which for some people might be overwhelming, and it would be easier just to have one resource where it's completely contained. But I found that being able to draw from different authors and different perspectives ended up making our unit studies a little bit more authentic to our style of teaching and learning. Okay, so if you've used this program, I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comment section below. And if you want to see some of the history unit studies that we've done in the past, you can tap on the screen right now. I've left a couple that might interest you. And don't forget that if you want to see what we're up to on a daily basis, you can find me on Instagram at Pepper and Pine.